Welcome back, Dig Nation, as we continue our hunt for entrepreneurial gold. All of you are listening to The Tim Laskus Show. I'm Tim Laskus, and this is episode 55. I'd like to thank one of my newest sponsors, Bluehost, which is optimized hosting for WordPress. They have very cheap plans starting out at $3.95 a month. You can't beat that. That is cheap for a monthly fee. And they will give you a free domain. They give you free site builders, a one-click WordPress install. I mean, that's easy, even for dummies like me who really struggle. I'm challenged when it comes to doing stuff like that. So if I can do it, I know anybody can. They offer 24/7 support. I know I would be using it because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they'll help you out. And best of all, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Man, so they power over 2 million websites worldwide. And on top of all that, they'll give you $150 towards advertising for your site. Can't beat that for Bluehost. So head on over to timlaskus.com under the resources page, and you can just see Bluehost right there. It's glaring at you. Click it, and you'll get the discount by clicking on that link. And so they'll give you a special rate by going there through my website, timlaskus.com. I guess /resources is the way it should be. And they'll take you to Bluehost, and Bluehost will give you that discount and all that great stuff and get you going. Now, on today's featured guest, who is Nicholas Kusmich. And Nicholas, he really kind of pulls back the curtain on how to use Facebook and other media sites for marketing. I know I struggle. I'm pulling my hair out because I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but he breaks it down. He breaks it down for dummies, and he makes it so easy. So I know you're going to get a lot of information from this. Enjoy.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests, entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Welcome, everyone. Today's featured guest is Nicholas Kusmich. Nicholas, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Tim, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm glad to be hanging with you.
Hey, right before we hooked up, you said that you had your hands in some dirty diapers. What's that all about? You got it all over your finger. Like, what is going on? Tell the listeners what that's about.
My world completely changed 8.5 months ago. Actually, rewind a little bit to that. It was December... I think like 22nd. It was the day before my wife and I were about to go to vacation to Hawaii for a week and then Australia for another week. We're about to pack up, about to get on the plane, late night, and she hands me a box with my Christmas present. And I said, babe, we weren't doing Christmas presents. We were so busy getting ready to pack and travel and do all that stuff. You didn't have to. And I open up the box, and the card I open up, it says, you're going to be a dad. And then below that is a positive pregnancy test. Wow. And at that moment, I knew that my life was going to take a radical turn for the better. Fortunately for us, we had an amazing pregnancy. Well, my wife did. I mean, I was just spectating most of it, obviously. But amazing pregnancy. Decided to do a home birth with a midwife and a doula and all the fun stuff that goes along with that. Had a great birth. And now 8.5 months later, our baby girl is here and just totally kind of establishing priorities and reestablishing what it means to, live and have considerations and all that. So yeah, my hands were in dirty diapers not too long ago. And that's what life is made off of. And now we're trying to balance the entrepreneurial game mixed with, the parenting game and making sense of it all at the same time.
Well, that's all exciting stuff, and I'm not too far ahead of you. My son is 3, and so we're not in the diaper stage anymore. But
right
now, what's worse for you? Is it vomit or the number 2 in the diaper?
You know what? So I don't know if you've seen these videos, Tim, but before my baby was born, I would see these videos of dads on YouTube who are, put in the position of having to change their kids' diapers. And I even had trouble growing up cleaning my dog's poop. I mean, I needed a shovel shovel. I couldn't clean it. That was me. So I told my wife from day one, I said, babe, I love you and I love our kid, but there's no way in hell I'm going to change a diaper. If I do, I'm going to vomit all over the kid and it's going to be terrible and no one's going to be happy with that. But I tell you, when baby comes, things change. Something inside of me clicked and I got this great confidence and this great ability. And for the most part, I changed most of the diapers now. So I'll take poop over vomit any day, just because we did have, as she started to transition into solids, we started testing new foods with her. Some didn't stick so well as others, and she had some really bad vomit nights, and that wasn't fun. So I'll take poop over vomit anytime.
So you're saying you can manage a blowout and have a sandwich in one hand and a dirty diaper in the other? It's gotten down to that.
I don't know about that just yet, Tim. I can't go that far. But
okay, we're pushing. But you're an expert in changing diapers.
You could blindfold me and I'll get it done.
All right. Excellent. Well, when I have another baby, my wife wants one. I don't want one, but I hope she's not listening to this. But we're going to send that baby up to you so you can change some more diapers. In case you decide to have more, I don't know.
Yeah, we're contemplating that. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's right. Well, you're a professional baby diaper changer. But speaking of being a professional, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what are you working on currently?
Yeah, so right now, the primary element of our business is running a Facebook advertising agency. One of the premier leading ones that are known out there. It's a great experience. And then over the last about 18 months or so, we've opened that up into adding training and consulting arm to the business. But really, the business revolves around helping people understand, if you are a business owner, how to market in today's Web 2.0 social media driven world, because this world is very different than the world of our fathers, and knowing how to properly market in this space takes a little bit of science and a whole lot of art and putting it together to make it work.
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know what the hell I'm doing on Facebook. Yeah, I'll put stuff up there that's business related and I get maybe one thumbs up.
Right.
I put a picture of my son up there with some 2 catfish he caught over the weekend and I got like 42 people like, yeah, way to go. And I get all this feedback. I'm like, what is going on out there?
You bring up a great point to that, and that actually sits a lot of what our basic premise around Facebook is. And the thing that really drives my business and the core message that we put across is this idea that I call contextual congruence. And what that really means, a fancy term for really meaning understand the platform that you're on, the context of it, and stay congruent to it. So what I mean by that is if me and you, Tim, decided to hang out all day together, but we had a bunch of things different on our agenda. So in the morning, we go to a wedding. In the afternoon, we go to a funeral. In the evening, we go to a sporting event. And then at night, we go to a club. Now, the two of us are going through all 4 of those experiences, but we would behave very differently, despite the fact that it was just me and you there, which goes to tell me that context actually should dictate behavior more than content. And so how does that translate into Facebook? Well, you brought up a great point. When you post something business related, you get, crickets. When you post something about your kid, you get a whole bunch of people engaging with you. And I think that is very telling about what Facebook is. It's a social platform. So the real key then is if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, and you want to market your business on Facebook, in other words, you want to do a commerce or a commercial-driven activity on a social platform, you've got to learn how to navigate those waters properly, because if you don't, you're basically breaking the code and you're talking business on a platform that doesn't really want to talk about business. And then you can find yourself in a very icky place. So, back to the point that you're bringing up here, if everyone just remembers and recalls why they do what they do and on what platform they do it, they're going to be much better off than breaking those rules.
But I'm still scratching my head because I don't know how to bridge the gap. If I keep putting stuff up on my kid, that doesn't help me sell anything.
Well, sure, and granted, but more than selling, I think what causes people to have transactions, at least in today's day and age, is this idea that I call resonance. At the end of the day, people will transact with us, not necessarily because we say the right words or we have very persuasive sales copy, although that can help. I'm not taking away from that. But at the end of the day, I believe that people will transact with us because they connect with us. And so, if we're talking about our lives, now it doesn't mean we only talk about our lives, and it doesn't mean we only show pictures of our kids, especially in a business setting. But the more people feel like they can relate to you, the more people feel like they can connect to you, the more they realize that you're a human being just like they are. And the reason you do what you do from a business standpoint has much more to do than just the profit or the transactional value connected with it. The more transactions you will actually see. So yes, posting more pictures of your kid, carrying a catfish may not initially create more dollars and cents, but the more of that kind of feeling you have, the more you're creating a bond with the people who like you, and then the few times you do properly ask for someone to transact with you, the more likely they will because of that bond in place.
Well, that makes sense about the bond and how society works and people work and network and how they like to be interacted with and all that stuff. I just feel that I'm 45. I was late to the game of social networking and media and all, and I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. I've got the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I feel like I've got like a patchwork quilt in every one of them. I got like just various stuff, from a glass of water to my kid to my podcast, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing on any of these platforms.
Right. Well, I think the key then maybe is just to focus on the one that you like to spend time on, focus on the one where you probably have an idea that your people are hanging out on, and then just kind of focus on that. I think in today's technical world, in fact, most entrepreneurs in general have, entrepreneurial ADD, if you will. They're always chasing shiny objects, looking for the next big thing, or they're trying to do too many things at the same time. So, when people ask, where can I find you? I say, well, you can find me on Facebook. They say, well, I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Twitter or LinkedIn or any of these other things. Well, I'm not there, so I guess we can't connect, because I just got to pick my fights or pick my places and choose my battles and focus on them only.
Well, that makes sense. And I got a problem. Let me ask you your advice on this.
Okay.
So I put up an episode of my podcast, someone that I had interviewed, and it's like crickets. Nobody said anything, but then there was one comment, and it was by my mom, and she goes, "I'm so proud of you." I thought, oh, dang, Mom, really? Come on. What do I unfriend my mom? What do I do? That's
well, not only unfriend. I think you should block her. Period. I think that would just selectively allow her to see what she needs to see and not other things, and that way it just lets you kind of be you and have her not interrupt in your business.
Well, speaking of tips, maybe you could give some tips to the listeners out there who are probably scratching their head as well about Facebook and how they can make it work for them, and if they have a service or a product.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, like oftentimes I'm asked, what is the greatest mistake that people make on Facebook ads? And I think that's a great place to start, because we could talk about all the technicalities involved with Facebook ads and spend all the time. And for the most part, that will probably go over most people's heads. But I want people to think about a couple of things when it comes to Facebook ads. And it's kind of the foundational principle behind my book, Give. It's the foundational principle of all the work that we do with all the clients that we work with, including some of the biggest names out there in the thought leadership space. And it's understanding this, that on Facebook, again, and it goes back to a little bit about what we alluded to, but on Facebook, the straight line is not the straight line. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say I'm trying to sell something, call it a widget. You would think that the straightest line to sell the widget would be to put up an ad that says, hey, buy my widget. Now, theoretically, that would be correct. But again, if we're going to stay true to the platform on Facebook, trying to sell something on a social platform is actually breaking the rules, and you're probably not going to get all that many people who are going to buy. So what do we do instead? I like to approach social as saying, what can I do that provides value to my ideal prospect? Is there something that I could provide them, be it a video, an audio, a thing, a gadget, whatever it be, that's not going to cost them anything, but it's going to allow me to start a relationship or start a conversation with somebody on social? And so I would want to think, well, what are the greatest problems that are looking to be solved? What are the current market trends that are affecting my marketplace? What are things that answers that people are looking for, questions that people are looking for answers to? And then I would come in and provide the answer. Or give a solution to a problem or bring some insight to a current trend. And I think the more you can use Facebook ads not to sell, but to serve and to bridge a gap and to start a conversation, the better off you are. So a good example of that, for example, on a physical side, I know a guy who sells essential oils, for example. Now, if someone's selling essential oils and a diffuser and all that goes along with that, then he could put up an ad that says, go buy my essential oils kit and diffuser and all that's connected to that. Or what if he just put out a couple page PDF that said, the 3 top essential oils that will help you in high stress situations, or the 3 top essential oils that will relax you before bed, or whatever it be, whatever. I don't really use essential oils, so I don't know, but I know people do. He put that out to the marketplace. Well, you use your Facebook ad to deliver that level of service to your marketplace. The next time those people do need that particular essential oil, you're going to be top of mind. And they may, in fact, come back to you and ask you and transact with you on that level. So I think from a very simple yet practical element, anybody who may be thinking about using Facebook ads to grow their business or get more customers or build their brand or get more exposure should be thinking along the terms of what are the problems that I could solve and how can I solve them in a way that serves my prospect, in order to know that eventually they may turn around when they're ready and transact with me at a later time.
I love that. That was very clear, and for me, I understood that, and I love those tips that you gave, and especially you talked about not to sell but to serve, and and answering those questions that people have, and just giving content like that, and that kind of made me just have this aha moment as you're talking about that, Nicholas, and that is fantastic.
Awesome.
And so, when did you realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and how long have you been doing this?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, that's a great question. So I never actually woke up one day, although let me take a step back. My parents were entrepreneurial. My father was a salesman when I was born, a commission-driven salesman, which is kind of entrepreneurial. And then him and my mother went off and started their own small local business here in the city. So it was, I guess, partially in my blood, but I never woke up one day saying, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I never bought into the dream, if you will. Being an only child, witnessing my father have his first heart attack when I was 4, and then continually having strokes and heart attacks and being in hospital for much of my younger life before he passed. He wasn't able to work quite young in my life, and my mother being an immigrant mother, having difficulty once they couldn't hold down the fort with the family business anymore, she had to go find a real job. Now, when you're an immigrant who can't speak the language all that well, you don't have a resume because all you know is the business that you owned. I remember specifically the day she came home, tears in her eyes, because she couldn't get a manual labor job of folding clothes at a dry cleaner's. And so I made the decision at that point when I was 17 or 16 or however, I think it was 15, 16 or 17, to say, I will never allow my parents to go through this as far as I can help it. So it was kind of thrust upon me, if you will, forced upon me to say, at 17, I got to be the primary breadwinner for my family. And that opened me up to trying things that I probably shouldn't have tried, all sorts of scammy type of business opportunity things. But the long and short of it is exposed me to the world that I'm now in, and through a lot of trial and error and a ton of failure, we were able to, I was able to find my place, find what I'm good at, match that skill with a need in the marketplace, and build, a business that now serves my family and serves millions of people every single month.
Well, that's an inspiring story. Where did your family immigrate from? So
my father was Ukrainian and my mother Korean, and they both came here a little bit later in life. Now, fortunately, I was born here. But yeah, they didn't come here with silver spoon, nor did they come here with anything except for, a desire and a will to figure out how to live in this country and make it work.
Mm-hmm. The land of opportunity, and
right.
And like so many people from those countries. And my family came from Lithuania, and so I remember hearing stories of my grandfather growing up during the Depression and in Chicago, and he was a young child stealing potatoes off the train and all of that. So
yeah.
I can really relate to that. Although I didn't experience it the way you did, and that certainly sounds like it really shaped your world, so to speak, and how you viewed how to make money and just just get into the grind and make it work for you. So how long ago was it that you kind of figured out Facebook and you decided, man, I'm going to run with this? Because now
Yeah.
you're known as kind of like the best Facebook guy on the planet almost. I mean, you are the guru.
Yeah, well, so I think it's again right place, right time. I was just in a situation where I need to figure out ways to get new customers. The Google, which was the 800-pound gorilla at the time, had slapped people, and people had lost businesses overnight. And so I was thinking, geez, I really don't want to do that. And so Facebook had just come out with their ads platform in beta. I said, well, let's just kind of dive in and give this a shot. So I started experimenting with it, started to get some good results, but I thought everybody was getting good results. So it wasn't until the day I was sitting in a conference that someone asked how many people in this room use Facebook ads to grow their business. And about 70 or 80% of the hands went up, including mine, of course. And then the second question that followed was how many people have found Facebook ads to be profitable for them? And every single hand went down except mine. So I had my little light bulb moment, and this was early 2015, January 2015. I had my little light bulb moment to say, I think I have a skill set here, and there's definitely a need in the marketplace. I pivoted, I doubled down on Facebook ads, and I made the commitment to be the best in the world at this craft. And that's what the last few years has really been dedicated to.
Wow, that's just wonderful. I mean, it sounds like you just kind of really stumbled into it. You figured it out, and now you've run with it, and you're working with so many people, and you're doing a lot of different things because you're doing kind of coaching and consulting, and you do speaking engagements and all of this stuff that's related to Facebook, correct?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think everybody has slightly different needs. And originally, we just wanted to be the one thing. We provide an agency service for our people, but then very quickly did we realize that not everyone has that same need. So yes, we try to be. And let me also say this: I mean, Facebook is a platform. Will it one day go away? Potentially. But what we talk about, and I think this is why we get results better than most people out there do, is because we're not just talking about Facebook ads. What we're really talking about is how people interact in today's social world. And once you understand that, then you have a much better chance at communicating in ways that make sense, advertising in ways that are relevant and congruent, and then as a result, be able to kind of grow business, gain customers, and all that sort of stuff. So Facebook is just a tool, but really our business is designed around understanding social behavior and understanding how someone who owns a business in today's day and age can use tools like Facebook to grow it even further.
I love that. And so, you're really helping people to kind of jump on this train that maybe they were left on the side of the road, so to speak. And so that's great. Now let's move into the dig round, Nicholas, and let me ask you a couple of quick questions and get a quick reply.
All right.
What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, so we're going to go back full circle right to the very beginning of this conversation. It's my little 8.5-month-old daughter that has poopy diapers. I mean, it really changed everything for me. And now, almost every decision is revolved around, will this make her life any better? And if the answer is yes, then it's probably something that just keeps us going.
For sure. Now, who do you look up to as a business leader?
Wow, that's a great question. It's I wish I could come up with one or two names that have been like truly inspirational, but what I found is the people who've had the greatest impact in my life have been my colleagues, like people who just are in the same space, people who I break bread with and have coffee with and I share some conversations with over dinner. These are the people who truly inspire me. The other dads and moms and the other entrepreneurs that are fortunate enough to be in my life, these are the people that I look up to the most.
Yeah, for sure. And the last one that's part of the dig round is street smarts versus book smarts. Which is more important? You got to pick one.
Yeah, I know. I got to pick one. I know it'll get me in trouble. You know what? I've never been good at book smarts. I barely got through school. I think I have a pretty good sense at street smarts, and it served me pretty well. So I'm going to have to say street smarts on that one.
All right. There's one for the streets. Love it. Now, I'm sure since you've been an entrepreneur, doing your own thing, and, it sounds like you really understood Facebook and you're just so passionate, but can you talk about a specific time that was very stressful mentally, and how did you cope? How did you get through it?
Oh, geez. Wow. How much time do we have? Life is my life, for better or for worse, has really been made up of this cascade of crazy events that just literally dragged me through hell and back for many years of my life. I think I had young success when I was early, and then the universe turned around and said, we got to teach this boy a lesson on humility. And I went through this 7-year bout of basically losing everything I could have ever lost. I lost my business, my home, my finances, my relationship. Everything that could ever have gone wrong and then some had went wrong. Specifically to your question, I remember one day sitting in my office and having my wife at the time walk in, and to make a very long story short, admitted that she was having extramarital affairs. And that was the beginning of me going in a downward spiral of trying to figure out what had happened, what does this mean, how are we going to deal with this, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to the point where I just didn't know, that combined with everything else, if I didn't know if it was worth living anymore. How did I get through that? I think it was a simple realization, and not even the realization, it was the reality that I had some very close people in my life come to me, put their arms around me and said, Nick, if you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need situations to get through, we're not going to ask details. We're not here to give you advice. We're just really here to love on you and carry you through these frustrating and difficult and challenging times. And if I didn't have those people, I don't think I could have got through those times. So, I mean, I'm forever grateful for the handful of people that I can count on one hand that I know that are there by my side and would lay down their life for me if they needed to.
Wow, it really did sound like the world was collapsing around you. I mean, personally, professionally, it must have been a lonely spot for you to be in.
It was very much so, but at the same time, it was in that depth of despair that you really know who's there with you and for you and standing by you, shoulder to shoulder. So on the one hand, I never felt more alone, and on the other hand, I never felt more connected and loved and appreciated. So it was a fascinating experience.
Wow. So it really highlighted those people who were your true friends and who were there to help see you through this.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Wow. Let's kind of flip that around. And, that was your low. What's been one of the most fulfilling moments on your journey?
Yeah, so it was meeting my now wife and getting married in the hills of Sorrento, Italy. And then just really, I felt like that was a pivotal, changing point and turning point or a tipping point in my life. Meeting her, getting married in a beautiful spot, and then realizing, and then of course, flip side to that was 8.5 months ago when my first daughter was born. I was at a point in my life, Tim, where I thought it wasn't worth living. And then to come full circle and to have every reason to be excited and every reason to wake up and to have, people like my wife and my child who love you unconditionally and you can love them back unconditionally. It's just been the most rewarding experience that I've ever had.
For sure. And what about professionally? In your current business, is there a moment that also stands out as like, wow, I've really turned things around professionally?
Yeah, I don't know if it was so much one moment as much as it was a cascade of moments that all built on one to another. Like, I can't go back and say, hey, there's this one thing that happened and everything turned around. Literally, it was being in the trenches, spending the time, not giving up when you felt like giving up. And then as you do, you start to build momentum, and then the snowball starts to grow, and it grows bigger. And really, that has been my experience. It wasn't one specific example as much as it has been the culmination of everything that continues to build and bring momentum to where we are today.
So you've got that snowball rolling and it's getting bigger and bigger every day.
It is indeed, and I'm enjoying the ride. It's not to say that it'll last forever, but as long as it does, I'm going to remain grateful and enjoy every moment of it.
There you go. It sounds great. Well, hey, Nicholas, we've ran out of time, unfortunately, and I would love to talk with you more about dirty diapers and business and all that great stuff. But before we go, tell the listeners where they can find you online, your website, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, NicholasKusmich.com, NicholasKusmich.com is kind of the website. It's more of a brochure that tells you all that we do. You can definitely connect with me on Facebook. That's where I spend most of my time, and I am the only Nicholas Kusmich on all of the Facebooks, so that's going to be really easy to do and find. And then if you go to givebook.info, it's my newest and latest book that is currently out that kind of talks a little bit about some of the things that we talked to and touched upon today. So that'd be great. If anyone was interested and they were ready for that, you could pick that up at givebook.info.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you very much, Nicholas. You've been a fantastic guest and I've enjoyed, hearing your story and all those tips that you gave us for Facebook. I'm excited to go out there now and clean up my act on Facebook and get it going.
Well, I appreciate it. And post more pictures of your kids holding those catfish.
I will. Hopefully they're bigger than the ones we've been catching. Thanks, Nicholas.
All right, Tim. Appreciate it.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlaskas.com.